That's plugged in, all right. Here we go. Hello everybody, Gage here from Sharp. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure as always to have you with me today. In today's episode of Sharp Knife Shop TV, we are talking all about kitchen battle stations.
I've always been a fan of the battle station posts on Reddit, but they're always about computers. We can't let them have all the fun, so today we're going to show our kitchen battle stations off.
We're going to show off our tools of choice, our layouts, and our workflows, and we're each going to show you that one irreplaceable item that we can't just cook without. So without further ado, let's get into it.
All right, Gage's battle station, here we go. First item, arguably one of the most important, is the good old chopping block here. I use this one with a missing rubber foot here because it was returned to the store. It's a larchwood board. It's sweet. It's made from larchwood. It's end grain, which means all of the grains of the wood are stood straight up like little hairs, and the edge of your knife just kind of fits right in between those. So it keeps your knives nice and sharp. Looks really nice, and it's got this little juice moat here, which when I'm carving big old pieces of steak is really handy. I would, if I could, have a board without the juice moat in it in hindsight, because it kind of takes up a little bit of my chopping space here. But all in all, it's a great board and I'm super happy with it. For the purposes of not driving Jake crazy, feeling sturdy, I'm gonna hit you with the knife collection here. Now you might be surprised by the modesty of this knife collection. Though we do have some pretty sweet knives here in the Shirokamo Nakiri and the Gyuto here. But yeah, and then a Petty Santoku combo from Tetsu Tsushime. And if I'm being honest, I find myself using these two guys the most. I do have a magnetic strip in my kitchen that I keep all of my knives on. So I find myself often grabbing these because I'm just always in a rush, it seems. And I don't want to have to worry so much about my knife getting rusty, which is what I did to this bad boy here. Shame. I do use my Nakiri quite a bit still. I use it for like scallions and stuff like that when we're doing like Buddha bowls or stir fries or you know, Thai nights or whatever. My Gyuto, which I haven't used in a little while, but this bad boy I use for slicing up big old ribeyes and stuff like that. Kurosaki Fujin Aogami Super. If you guys have watched the channel for any length of time, you know this is like my favorite knife of all time. So there you have it. The 4 knives. Next, moving on, we'll do all of my tools. This is gonna look a lot more organized in this video than it does in my kitchen because we've been moving around a lot, and in fact, we are moving today, the day that we are shooting this video. So all of my stuff is everywhere and has been for the better part of a year. So I really don't have like stuff in places. Mise en place. Mise not in place is, I don't know where I was going with that. But my stuff is not where I would like it to be, but that's gonna change. I have here microplane, mini whisk, spatula, other spatula, spoon, dough card, peeler, and I keep it all in this Bane or like crock thing, stainless steel crock. I got this when I was working in Chicago because everyone was required to have one to keep all their tools in. So I still have it. Makes me think of cool, fun times. And then last but not least, my coffee in a deli container because, you know, once a cook, always a cook, and coffee is better out of a deli. My tool that I cannot live without is my dough card here. I used to have a blue one that my buddy gave to me before I went off on my cooking journey, and it broke like just after I opened the shop. So if I'm being honest, I've been using a debit card for a while, but now that we have these dough cards in stock, I've been using this bad boy, so that guy's sweet. Of course, spoon for tasting, peeler for peeling, my whisk for whisking, my microplane, another, this was close to being my like top can't live without tool because, you know, Parmesan, lime, lemon zest, nutmeg, this thing is awesome. You can use it for so many things. The mini whisk, just because, I don't know, it fits in the Bane nicely, and I'm often not doing too much whisking, so this guy's totally adequate. I used to have a really cool Le Creuset one. I still do, but I packed it away this morning and I couldn't find it. that I used when I was working at Grace, but now, lately, if I'm being honest, I've been using this one that I got off Amazon with like 97 other tools for $10, and it's almost broken already, so there you go. Oh, can't forget the towel. Always have a damp towel next to my station, and like we tell our customers, for any knife, whether it's stainless or carbon steel, a quick wipe down as soon as you're finished using it, and you won't have to deal with shame. There you have it, guys. Gage's kitchen battle station.
The first piece on my battle station is going to be this beautiful cutting board from Larchwood, Canada. It's my absolute favorite. It's end grain, which means it's super soft on the edge of my knife. This particular softwood larchwood also has antimicrobial properties, which means it's going to basically allow my board to be cleaner, longer, less soap, less hot water. All in all, just a win. If I have a board, I need knives, and so in order to use my knives, what I really like to have is this gorgeous Power magnetic knife block. Can store up to 4 knives. I lay that right here. Maybe a little bit quirky, but I like to make sure that this line is lined up with the right edge of the cutting board. If I'm using my knives, I like to have this nifty piece of ebony, which I rest my knives on. My current go-to knife is probably this gorgeous Kazuomi Yamamoto 182mm Hakata Shirogami 2. So when I use a knife, this is where it goes. When doing prep work, I want to make sure to have plenty of tea towels, dry tea towels. These are the tea towels I use to wipe the blade. This is a tea towel I recently bought. I just think it looks really good, so when I haven't used my knife yet, sometimes instead of using the piece of ebony, I'll kind of just lay it here. Back on the piece of ebony it goes. Tea towels on the right side, so it's really easy to wipe off the cutting board. I always need to have a stainless steel bowl. This is where all my food scraps go. The ones in particular that I can compost. Everything else, of course, will sort accordingly. This goes off to the side. And the one indispensable tool that I probably can't live without is going to be this rainbow tasting spoon. I like to use the back end of it to kind of stir in the spices, and of course the front end for tasting. But what's this? There's more. A mystery package. Sharp Knife Shop sent me this mystery box. I don't even know what's inside. 2 knives. What's the style? What's the brand? I have no idea. But what I do know is that I get to keep my favorite, and the next knife becomes a giveaway. You can look forward to seeing this unboxing video on my YouTube channel, FRANCOALOPHOTO, at the end of next week.
All right, Jake's battle station. First part of my battle station, because I do not have a larchwood board with rubber feet like the other 2 gentlemen, is a damp paper towel. On top of that goes the foundation of any battle station, which is my cutting board. I use this one from Asahi. If anyone knows how to say that properly, let me know in the comments section down below. This guy's great. If I'm being completely honest, the main reason I love this guy is the shape of it. It's a little bit longer and not as deep. Before this, I had a much larger wooden cutting board, but I work out of a galley kitchen. Pretty much all the usable counter space is on this island. So I like to keep a little bit more room working around. I usually put my board off closer to the edge at the bottom right of my station. So that's gonna sit right about there. The next thing, of course, any good battle station needs is rags. I get the green ones because they remind me of my time in a restaurant. I feel like I'm still a real cook. So I keep one off to the right here. This is gonna be my damp rag. I'm gonna use this to wipe my knife down, things like that. And I'll grab one more and I open it up and I always leave it on top of my cutting board. I will cut to a shot here on the left, but I have a magnetic knife bar here from Peter the Bear. This guy's great. This is where I keep all my knives, but this rag that I put here is for the 2 that I am using most of the time. Lately, I've been finding myself using this 240mm Gyuto from Gage Himono with a HAP 40 blade. Really high heat treat. Edge retention is fantastic, but it still sharpens up super quick. I really like the flat profile and the snub nose, how it's kind of like an elongated Santoku. I have the Santoku from them as well. This guy's a little bit thicker behind the edge, but it's really nice on a 240. So if I'm ever working with any proteins or rocking over large bunches of herbs, realistically, I use this for most of my slicing tasks as well. Really beautiful K-Aki handle with a buffalo horn ferrule, and this is possibly my all-time favorite knife. And then paired with that, most of the time I'm using my petty knife. This is from Masakagi's Koishi line. This is forged by Kato. Agami Super with a stainless cladding. I used this for 5, 6, maybe 7 years in a restaurant. So you can see most of the karuchi's worn off. It's got its battle scars. I've used this knife so much. You could certainly use a thinning. So I will get around to that maybe on another day off, but until then, it is still doing well for me. It's got a cherry handle with a black packawood ferrule. I might switch this out for one of the Miyazaki petties if you guys don't buy them up, so do that to save my bank account. But until then, we are rocking these two knives primarily. All right, another thing that is almost always out on my counter is this bowl. I use onions and garlic pretty much in everything that I cook, and normally there's garlic in there, but I'm out. So I've filled it up with some persimmons, lime, and an avocado that still needs some ripening. So this is with me pretty much every time that I'm cooking. All right, another thing that Gage has already spoken to that I cook with pretty much every single time is gonna be this bench scraper. This is just a cheap guy from Winco. I got this thing on Amazon probably almost a decade ago for like $5 or $6. I prefer the thicker stainless ones that are a little bit stiffer personally. And these things are great not only just to scoop food up and move it around, but that being said, with these Asahi boards, I find that if you don't wipe them down super duper quick, things do tend to stick to them a little bit more. So if I'm running around and I'm cooking and I forget to wipe it right away, it's really nice to have this thing to just come and scrape off, take a little bit of garbage and just dump that to my left. Speaking of which, my garbage can sits right about here. It's gonna remain out of frame because if I'm being completely honest, I haven't changed my garbage in a couple days. Yeah, I keep my garbage there, and then pretty much anything that's going in there, the bench scraper gets it there. And that usually sits right there at the top right. Things have been really busy lately, so I've been doing a lot of batch cooking on the weekends. So one thing that's almost always out on my counter nowadays is one of these big boy rolls of saran wrap with a little cutter, because I absolutely despise fighting with the teeth rather, on the edge of this box. So this is pretty much always there, and it's pretty much sitting just tucked off to the side there, up against the wall underneath the knife rack. Of course, we have a salt bank with some kosher salt. Keep this off to the side over by my saran wrap. And then this little pepper mill from Trudeau. It's got a really nice like textured paint finish on it. It hucks pepper super quick. I will say it doesn't have the biggest capacity, but it's great for me because it's usually just me and my girlfriend eating, so it's more than enough for us. I have this little bottle of Subaki oil. If I'm being completely honest, I find that I use my stainless knives a little bit more often, and I only really bother putting this stuff on my ironclad knives. But when it does come time for me to whip out the Yanagi, which has a lovely 400 grit finish on it right now. Stay tuned for progress on that. If I ever use that guy, just because I don't use it very often, I want it to stay nice and pretty and colorful, then I'll pop some Subaki oil on that guy. So that usually stays out just tucked behind the salt and pepper over here. I don't know if that's in frame or not. So those guys are usually hanging out there. Of course, you're not allowed to have any glass on the line, so I keep my water in a deli like a dishwasher should. All right, and my secret cannot cook without item is just a squeeze bottle full of water. I've been making a lot of Indian food lately, specifically a lot of curries, and when I'm cooking down the onions with the tomato paste or the chopped tomatoes and the spices and a fair bit of oil, when I wanted to stop cooking, I wanted to stop cooking. I don't want it to keep going for 5, 10, 30 more seconds when I turn the heat down. So I keep this and I just put a little squirt in. This thing's really great. If you do basted eggs, it's just super handy to have on hand. If you ever just need a little squirt of water and then to lid something, if you're melting some cheese or doing a basted egg, fantastic for stuff like that. Again, if you're doing curry and you're browning something or things are starting to get a little bit too dark and you want to slow them down, you're caramelizing onions, you're making a masala, something like that, it's really, really fantastic for. So that stays with me pretty much all the time. If I'm ever doing a big batch of something, I'll take the garbage can over from the left and I'll move it to the right of the board so that I can keep my workflow clean. I put all of my raw product here, chop, 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 and then into the garbage it goes, or into the pan or the bowl that it goes to the right, just to keep the workflow nice and smooth, keep things moving. Again, this is a bit of a smaller kitchen, so I do have to be as efficient as I can. All right, and you guys can't see this, but underneath me, there are shelves on this side. There's some seating on the other side with a couple stools, but I keep all my larger pots and pans down there, and then all of my plateware. So when I'm cooking, it's really quick to just bring up a couple plates, plate up dinner, and you're good to go. So there you have it, guys. There's my battle station.
There you have it, our kitchen battle stations. Hopefully you got some great ideas from Jake and Frankie about how to improve your battle station. Maybe you're feeling a whole lot better about your battle station after seeing mine. In any case, we would love to see your kitchen battle station. So post a picture on Instagram using the hashtag kitchen battle stations. We are eagerly awaiting your posts so that we can check them out, find our favorite, and give a shout out to that person on our IG page.
I hope you enjoyed that bird's eye view of our battle stations. I'm Frankie with FRANCOALOPHOTO, and it has been an absolute pleasure of mine to show you what my battle station looks like, as well as Gage and Jacob's from Sharp Knife Shop. If you're anything like me, you're itching to see what's inside this box. 2 knives, that could be anything. Well, you won't have to wait for long. Next Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. MST. On my YouTube channel, FRANCOALOPHOTO, we're going to be opening this box to find out what knives are there, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find out which knife I'm going to keep and which knife is going to become a giveaway. This is right up my alley, as my channel focuses on everything knife reviews, knife unboxings, knife knowledge, knife demos, and now apparently even mystery boxes. Thanks for watching, guys, and remember to smash that like button, subscribe to Sharp Knife Shop and FRANCOALOPHOTO for more knife-related content, and as always, stay sharp.
There you have it.